Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Chocolate Covered Pages. I'm Kiona, and in 2024 I read urban fiction novels, and these are my top 8 bangers. Let's get into it. A really good amount of urban fiction this year. I think it's because I realized in 2023 that I didn't read as much urban fiction as I would have liked, so I wanted to change that in 2024. So y'all know how it goes. I'm not gonna do too much talking. Let's get straight into number 8. So number 8 is going to be Secrets on King's Drive by Kita Denise, and this book was a bit of a surprise for me because I'd never read from this author before. I had seen her previous series Around, which is called The Heist, and I wanted to get into that one, and then I came across this one and I was like, you know what, this seems to be a standalone, let me get into it, right? So this book is about a girl named Haven, and Haven is from Nebraska. We find out at the very beginning of this book that there is some kind of natural disaster in Nebraska and Haven has to flee. Well, when she flees, she ends up in Virginia. And she is really wanting to keep like a very low profile because, well, we don't know why. We just know that she has a bit of money and she is looking to rent an apartment in a very kind of hood neighborhood. She don't want a bunch of people in her business. She don't want no credit check. She don't want any of those things. So wherever she can get an apartment where she could pretty much be fairly anonymous, that is where she's going to go. And she ends up on King's Drive renting a house. That is where the rest of the book kicks off, and King's Drive is almost a character in itself because it is this block that cops don't drive down. So you have guys who live on this street. They are the security for the block. Like, as soon as you turn that corner to attempt to get on the block, there's going to be guys coming out with guns, like, state your business. You know what I mean? Even though it's urban fiction and, there's drugs involved, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of shadiness and shystiness, which I love in my urban fiction. There is such community here. I found this to be one of the most heartwarming, wholesome, if you could use the word wholesome in this but it really felt like wholesome urban fiction because there's some heartwarming moments in this book that I was completely not expecting at all. But I love them. I found myself smiling and just enjoying, especially the camaraderie between Haven and another character named Tori, who is one of the first people that she meets when she comes on the block, and he decides immediately, once he gets over, that he's attracted to her, he decides that, you know what, you're gonna be my bestie. And they become very close throughout this book. There is a male love interest named Giovanni, and for me, I wish that Giovanni was a little bit more, I wish he gave more of strong male character energy. Like, if for him to be the love interest, like, I wish that he would have had a stronger personality. Like, he didn't appear like he was supposed to be, like that guy, because he pretty much is the king of King's Drive. Like, he's running this, he's running that. He has the pink house, which is pretty much the trap house on this block, and everybody knows that is not the person that you want to cross. But when you start to peel back the layers and, Haven starts having conversations with him, you realize, hold on, he's not actually the brightest. So how did he end up in his position in the first place? But you listen, I digress. That's just me being a little bit nitpicky. But other than that, I really enjoyed this book so much. There is a mysterious element to it. So it's not just, you know, strictly urban fiction, day to day, you know, drugs and mayhem. You know, there's the mystery of where did Haven come from, what is her story, and I really enjoyed getting to uncover all of that throughout this book. Some things you don't find out until the very last few pages, and I appreciated that. I also love how Haven is not your stereotypical black girl that you find in a lot of urban fiction books. She is, you know, she has her own style. She is extremely smart, and she is a bit of a chemist. You know, she loves science, and I just love how she was just so unique as a character. You know, she was dressed, what it sounded like was like pretty emo, you know, with like the chunky Mary Jane shoes, little pleated mini skirts, and, you know, maybe some spikes, pink hair. So she really just had her own style going, and you know, the other girls was not feeling it. But these are all the things that made this book just a very unique read for me. And you'll see on this list that a lot of these books really kind of stole my attention because of just how unique they were. They weren't just your run-of-the-mill urban fiction books. Okay, coming in at number 7 is going to be Product of the Street by E. Bowser. This is another book that I found to be fairly unique because the men in this crime organization, they have legit high-powered jobs. One is an actual doctor. I mean, like an actual doctor, PhD, all of that. But after hours, when he takes his white coat off, he is a full-on gangster with grills and everything, and he really does not play around. He even has a shed where he likes to practice operations, so to speak. So I really enjoyed just really how different that was. I enjoyed the different characters in this organization. You know, at the very beginning of this book, it lets you know what the kink is going to be throughout this book. And it's seemingly throughout this series, it's very much leaning into voyeuristic themes, exhibitionism. So if you're into that, you are really going to enjoy those parts of this book because there's a lot of that. So not only do you have very compelling characters with very interesting backstories and professions, you also have these outside threats to this organization, and you're getting to see how do these men handle these outside threats. Like what protocols do they have in place? And I mean, I was highly impressed. I really was, because I was like, they are just like 5-10 steps ahead of people. They're also not pushing street drugs. What they are doing, they're in the business of pharmaceuticals. So that is another thing that I found really cool. And this was just good. Unfortunately, I did move on over to book 2. And book 2, I will say that I ended the series at book 2 because book 2 just turned into a bit of an erotica novel. Like, it was just a lot. And y'all, listen, y'all know I'm not no prude, but I felt like the sex was becoming bigger than the actual plot in the novel, if that makes sense. So I will say that, you know, take what I'm saying, you know, with a grain of salt. If that's the type of thing that you like, have at it. Enjoy yourself. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Hidden Treasures by Antoinette Sherrill. And let me just tell y'all, when this book dropped, I don't know what I was reading at the time, but let me just tell you, I dropped that current book so fast. It was like Like, get this out of here. I don't even know you anymore. Sorry to you. I don't know what book it was. I don't know if I ever went back. I was just straight into this one because I had read the 3 books in the series. If you're interested in reading this one, just know you will need to read The Art of Hood Love, Savvy, book 1, The Art of Hood Love, Shabu, and then The Art of Hood Love, the finale. I can't really tell you too much about this installment. So this is basically going to be a very loose book 4, but it seems like it's just like that. She calls it the interlude, so it's like a in-between type of book. I don't know what's next for these characters, but I know that there's more in this. There's definitely more. There's so many characters in this book. So we have a first of all, I love that these characters, like the family that this book is pretty much centered around, I love that they are Haitian, and the Haitian representation is, I love it. I love it so much. I love that every now and again they'll pop out with some Creole. I love all of that. Okay, so this book is following 2 characters that, I want to be careful what I say here. It's following 2 characters that one of them we are introduced to in the finale, and the other one has always been a part of this series, but this male character, his name is Pierre. Pierre has always been a part of the series, but he's kind of been a side character. He is a cousin to the main 2 guys that the first trilogy is about. Okay, he is their cousin, and I've always been intrigued by Pierre, even in that first trilogy, because he just always had so much spunk, so much charisma. He was so damn funny. Like, I just loved every scene that he was in, and I'm so happy that she gave us his book. You know what I mean? I wanted to learn some more about him. I wanted to uncover, like, let me get underneath all these jokes. You know, what's happening underneath all of this? She did not disappoint with this one. I really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced. There always seemed to be something happening, and then a lot of, you know, some open-ended items that was in the first trilogy are starting to make their way to getting wrapped up in this 4th book here. So I know that it's going to continue, and that just makes me so happy. I just love this series so much. It made one of my top series I read in 2023, so I was just happy that I was able to continue the series this year. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Brooklyn by Tracy Brown. I picked this one up back in February. I did a vlog for it. I will pop it somewhere so that in case you're interested in watching it, but that has a lot of my thoughts as I was reading it. And this is about a girl named Brooklyn, and you know at the very beginning of the book that Brooklyn is dead. Okay, we don't know what has happened to her. Well, we kind of know what happened to her, but we don't know who is involved in what happened to her. And then the book goes from the beginning. The book starts to uncover Brooklyn's life as a pastor's kid with her 2 siblings. She has a younger sister and an older brother, and you just start to see the type of person that Brooklyn becomes. And I think a lot of it clearly has to do with some trauma that Brooklyn had, some things that went on with her in the beginning of this book, and it just kind of shapes who she becomes for the rest of the novel to her very end, pretty much. And once again, you know, Tracy Brown, rest in peace to her. This, from what I'm understanding, is probably the last novel that she wrote, and it just made me so sad reading this because I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop reading it because I didn't want these to be the last words. Like, if these were to be the last words that she wrote, I just didn't want to finish. You know, I dragged the hell out of that book. I really, really did. But, you know, it had to be done. I had to finish it. I do have a couple more of her titles that I definitely want to pick up. Like, there's a few. Like, I never read Single Black Female. There's a few. And one thing I can say about every single Tracy Brown book that I have read, she knows how to craft a story. She always knew how to craft a story and to get you in tune, and she always wrote characters that made you feel strong feelings about them. Like Brooklyn, I didn't like her. I can honestly, this is how I know I can enjoy a book and can't stand the main character. That literally does not have to connect for me at all, right? But because I have such strong feelings towards her, I know that it's intentional. I know that I'm supposed to either not like her or to have some kind of sympathy for her. But honestly, I really, by the time I got to the end, I was like, yeah, I don't like her. Like, I had kept giving her chances throughout this entire book to, you know, try to, you know, redeem herself. But Brooklyn was a girl that was one of the most selfish characters I ever, well, I didn't meet her, but I ever came across, I ever read about. And that's how you know that the book is hitting, when you have all these feelings for someone that's not even real. So number 4 is going to be none other than Clear Water by Nina. This is another one where it is kind of the 5th book in the series. So this series follows the Porter brothers. And if you're interested in reading the Porter Brothers series, it's a very popular series at this point. I've been talking to y'all about this series since last year when I first became obsessed with it. So if you're interested, book 1 is On Front Street. And then the next 3 books in the series is On Us 1, On Us 2, and On Us 3. And then we get to this one, which is Clearwater. And I can't tell you who this story is about, because this is a character that is a secret. Yeah, this is a character that is a secret. The only thing I will say is that I really love this female main character in this book. I feel like getting her story was the missing piece to the Porter brothers whole story, you know, because you have to understand that book 1 and then those 3 other books in the series, it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of secrets. It is a lot of mess. It is a lot. So when you get to Clearwater literally feels like a breath of fresh air, because it ain't a whole lot of that. It's not a whole lot of that that's in those first few books. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong with that, because that is what got me hooked to the series in the first place. And then I was just so happy that she went in another direction for this book regarding this character, because this book really fit this character, because this character is calming. She's considerate. Like, she's just a good person. She is just a good person. And I feel like this is the book that just made everything come together for me. You know, for the Porter brothers, for the other side characters, for everyone involved, this book just made everything complete. Obviously, earlier this year, she came out with Reckless, and Reckless is one of the books that is following one of the brothers in the Porter series named Wreck. And then there's more drama and, you know, more of similar things that are in the On Us series, right? So I will just say that I loved how Clearwater rolled out. I love the pacing of it. Even though at first I DNF'd it. I'm gonna be honest. At first I DNF'd this one because I had went straight from On Us 3 straight into Clearwater, and I was like, this one just feels really slow. Like I'm not feeling it. And then I had to put it down. I read a bunch of other books in between. And then when Reckless came out, I went back to Clearwater and I said, let me try again. And it was everything. It was just perfect. It was just written so well. Like I felt like the character development was A1 because I really felt like I knew this girl. I knew what she would and she wouldn't do. I just love how she was moving. And I also got to see a different side of the Porter brothers. I was just loving it. You know, it's just so many this is another one that has a lot of wholesome moments. Whoever thought I'd be using that word wholesome in reference to urban fiction novels? But you see, you can't put them all in a box, you know? It's not just shoot them up. I would love another book with this character. I really just would. Every time she came on the scene in Reckless, I was like, oh, there she is. Like, but yeah, that is why that one just really did it for me. And I'm so glad that I took a second. Sometimes you just really, it's just not the right time. You know what I mean? If you're going from one book to the next and it has a completely different vibe, just give it a second. You know, maybe you just need to just go back to it, you know, check it out. And it was, to me, it just really worked. Coming in at number 3 is going to be The Lonely Pole, number 2 by Takara Allen. And you might be saying, why number 2 and not number 1? And it's just that I just feel like number 1 did an excellent job at setting the scene for us, setting the foundation, and letting us know what this series was going to be about. It's a duology, which I love, you know, because don't be dragging this on now, you know. This series was really good. I made it a point this year that I wanted to get some more Takara Allen books underneath my belt. So this was one of the series that I had seen around and I was like, you know what, I definitely want to check that one out. And this did not disappoint. Book 1 is good. Book 2 is great. Okay, book 2 is absolutely great. Even though there's some things that happen in both of these books that I am not the biggest fan of, but you have to respect the craft. I can't write the book myself, so I just have to just roll with it. I'm going to talk about book 1 because I can't really talk too much about book 2. Book 1, we are introduced to a girl named Athena, and Athena is a dancer. We meet her immediately where she is auditioning to get into this performing arts college, you know, as like a ballerina. Unfortunately, she ends up having to become a stripper. And if you are reading from the beginning, you are thinking to yourself, how did this girl become a stripper? Because it's literally day and night from how she is introduced to us at the beginning. You know, she is very much a bit sedity. She's a bit judgmental, I will say, in the very beginning. It just shows you that, you know, a lot of strippers, they have a story. You know, I think that was maybe one of the takeaways from this book, is to just not be so judgmental, because you have no idea what you will do if you are desperate enough. If you are in survival mode, don't be looking your nose down on people, because baby, that could be you. You could be 2 paychecks away from being that person. You know, so you might want to rein it in with the judgment. And that was one of the things that I definitely took away from this book. We are also following 3 other women in this story: Roxy, Naima, and Portia. And these 3 other women, they are also strippers. And my goodness, some of their stories are just like, when I just tell you that so much has happened, so much happens in these 2 books, that it's just like, you feel like you have been reading this series for 5 books long. Part 2 is pretty long. It might be like 600 pages. But when I tell you it's so worth it, it is absolutely so worth it. There is the male main character in this book. His name is Trip. So Karen Allen is very good at creating these characters that are morally gray. You know, that is never super clear on if we're supposed to love them or are we supposed to hate them. Because I always find myself up and down with like all of her characters. They always end up doing something. Like, even if it's like, okay, I really like this person, then they'll go do something that is just like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I liked you. I was rooting for you. What you just did was terrible, you know? And then they'll turn around and do something nice to where you're like, oh, you know what, but maybe I made a mistake about him. Like, it's just so much like back and forth on the fence with all of her characters, specifically her male main characters. And I just have to feel like that's intentional, and I love it because keep me on my toes, you know, don't make it easy for me, you know. So there's just so much in this book that honestly you just really have to read it. It's at number 3 for a reason. Before I forget, if you do decide to pick this up, I have to tell y'all there's some trigger warnings here. There's definitely some trigger warnings here. I'm gonna hold my finger up, and when the finger is down, that means I'm no longer talking about this. So there is some domestic violence and there is definitely some sexual assault in this book, so please keep that in mind. Coming in at number 2 should really be no surprise because I've been running my mouth about this book all year long, and that is going to be Demon's Dream by Elle Kaysen. I cannot forget this book. This will probably not be the last time I speak about this book. I feel like every urban fiction girly at this point has probably read this book or knows about it, got it downloaded. It is fairly long, but it's so worth it. It's just so worth it. And it's so interesting to see where everyone lands, because there's 2 male main characters in this book. Well, one of them is really the main character, which is Demon. And then you also have another male in this book that we get a fairly good amount of, you know, page time with, which is Smoke, who, you know, he belongs to me, in case anybody was wondering. Y'all can have Demon. So we meet Dream and her father. Dream and her father have some dealings with a drug kingpin, and Dream's brother has done something to completely offend this man. So the man has decided, you know what, in exchange for me not killing your brother, I want Dream to go to my brother Demon, and he gets her for, I believe it's 30 days. Is it 30 or 60 days? It might be just 30 days. And she is to go to him, and she is to do whatever he wants to do. And the father, pretty much, in my opinion, pimps out his daughter to Demon and his, you know, drug kingpin or whatever. And then we begin to see how things progress between Demon and Dream, right? And then Smoke is a side character, and he has his own romance with someone else that I won't say because it is a bit of a spoiler. So I just found Demon. Every now and again he would be a bit endearing, but Demon had a lot of demons, I will say. And to me, that prevented him from picking up on natural, like, regular cues to like to like attempt to love someone and know when he is receiving love, because he's just so used to, you know, being this hard exterior. And, you know, he is the killer. Like, basically his brother is the one that, if he has anything going on, he calls Demon to take care of it. And Demon is a person you see at the end of the alley and you know it's over for you. Just start saying your prayers. Start, you know, send your last text message. That is it for you. You're done. Okay? Because you done seen Demon, and he is like the Grim Reaper. He really is. These men are extremely possessive. It's very much touch her and you die, which I really love. It got a little bit extreme at times. Just a little bit extreme at times. But you know what? I'm here for it. I'm always gonna be here for it. I enjoyed it. And being that it's a standalone, to me that makes it even better, because it was just like a one and done. Boom. It was like just a mic drop. I'm done. I'm not writing nothing else about this series. You got what you got. It was very long. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya. You know, so I am looking forward to seeing what else Elle Kaysen comes up with. Coming in at number 1 is going to be, surprisingly, one of the first books I read in 2024, and that's gonna be Last Stop from Innocence by Takara Allen. I just love this book so much. Y'all don't even know how much I have to refrain myself from constantly speaking about this book in videos, because it's just so good to me. And I've been reading, I think at this point I have maybe read four or five Takara Allen books at this point. This is still one of my favorites right here, hands down, because there's so many unexpected twists in this book. For it to be following a main character that is only 18, I was not expecting this. When I tell you I was crying, I was distraught, okay? Completely distraught, because this book, the way it's written, it gives you those 90s vibes. I love books that are set in the 90s. I just love it so much. And it's not just, you know, a couple 90s references here and there. The entire feel of the book is very 90s. The whole thing. We meet a young lady and her mom has just passed away. She is forced to move to a hood in Jersey where her estranged father lives. And she is just, as you can imagine, she is really, you know, going through it. You know, the only good thing that seems to be happening right now for her is that she has reconnected with her cousin that is around the same age as her, named Tammy. I don't know why can I remember Tammy's name and not her name. But anyway, they really just reconnect and they just pick up where they left off. And I love seeing their friendship. They have such a sisterhood together, and it's just so beautiful to see. Oh my god, my battery is dying. Okay, and I want everybody to pick up this book. The audiobook is phenomenal. She also meets a young guy, and they have this young love that, I mean, the way it's written, it's just so beautiful. It's extremely nostalgic for me. It makes me think of when I was young and I met my husband, and just everything was just, you know, just that young love. You know what I mean? Where nothing else matters. You just want to be with this person. You don't care. You just your heart aches if you can't be with this person. And everybody tells you that it's puppy love and, you know, this person's going away to college, but you feel in your heart like, I feel like I'm supposed to be with this person. It's just such a beautiful freaking story, and I want all of y'all to pick it up. Let me know if y'all read any of these. Do you agree with me? Tell me, because I know most of the people watching this video are going to be the urban fiction lovers. Let me know what are some urban fiction bangers you read in 2024, because I'm trying to get my list together for 2025 because I want to keep the train going. That is going to be it for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.